Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of The County Seat. I'm Chad Booth. Last week on our show, Terry Wood moderated a discussion on the drought and the impacts it has on Utah's agricultural producers. Today we're going to continue that conversation by talking about another thing that impacts agriculture in the state. It is the loss of quality land on which to grow things. We will talk about what kind of efforts are going into conservation of agricultural lands in our show today. But first, we are going to take a tour of some of Utah's orchards and farmlands and find out what kind of challenges face the producers of the tasty things we eat at our dinner table. Here with that story is Terry Wood.
Don't you just love September in Utah? You can walk through an orchard and pick a piece of fruit and enjoy it right off the tree. You know, there's a demand these days for locally grown food, and Utah has some great orchards. But there's also a demand for orchard land, and that's creating a problem. We head down to Cherry Hill Farms, where local leaders are taking a tour and picking cherries. 10 to 11 million pounds of cherries will be picked at Cherry Hill Farms this year. Pulling off a harvest isn't as simple as planting a tree and waiting for the right time to harvest. There are all kinds of challenges of running a business, along with a number of factors that can decrease the yield. Weather has a huge effect. Frost, hail, insects.
And there's just so many opportunities for it to be damaged along the way that it's not only a risky business, but it's fairly scientific and fairly technologically involved.
We have what's called a sensiphone. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but the temperature is set at the critical temp. And when that phone goes off, we come out and we light up the heaters, we start all the wind machines.
But despite the best in technology, it is the location of a farm that still determines whether or not it will be successful.
The land along the Wasatch Front is unique in the sense that the soils are great. Years ago, rich soils were deposited here where we have the lake effect because of the Utah Lake and the Great Salt Lake, so temperature-wise it's a fabulous growing area. End up with 2 or 3 weeks of additional growing season compared to most of the state of Utah.
While that's all good news for farmers, other factors are decreasing farmable land in these fertile areas, primarily population growth. As the value of the land has risen, many farmers have been pushed out of the Wasatch Front and other prime food-growing areas in the state. Now it's housing developments, and the farmers have to make do on the fringes of where the fruits and vegetables can be grown.
They planted houses rather than trees. The development prices went so high that you can't afford to plant cherries and get, you know, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 an acre.
The uses of development are industrial or residential, and they can always pay more for the land than what agriculture can pay. And therefore their ability to, with a little bit of additional money, they can buy the land away from agriculture, and always have.
The benches above Orem used to be the center of the fruit industry in the state, but as the pressure of development increased, the fruit growers moved to the south end of Utah County.
There's not really a good place to go from here. So if development pressures start to build too much in this area, they'll probably buy up the land, and most of the orchards in the state of Utah will simply disappear.
If fruit production in the state were to disappear, we'd lose a lot more than just the fruit.
The sad part is we wouldn't produce much fruit. We have a desire to be as self-sustaining as we can be, and it's important to produce as much food as we can. Production of fruit is important. We like buying it at farmers markets. We also like the business and the jobs that come with it too.
We've been doing this, Cherry Hill Farms and Rowley's Cherry Hill Orchards, ever since I was a little boy, and I'm 45 years old. I like the life. I mean, it teaches my kids. I have 6 kids, and all 6 of them work here on this farm every day of the year. Teaches them good values. And I enjoy working with my brothers, my parents, and I've had that opportunity my entire life. It's not a place where I'm going to make $1 million, but it's a place where I can work with people that I like to work with.
And when these land values get high, I say there's only 2 ways they're going to transfer to the next generation, either as a gift or they're going to transfer with a conservation easement. And so if the desire of the public is to maintain agriculture in the Wasatch Front, there's no such thing as a free lunch, and we've got to find some money to do it.
For the county seat, I'm Terry Wood.
Terry tells us that the cherry operation in Santaquin is actually a collective effort between multiple farmers, and their produce reaches all 50 states and is shipped to 14 countries. Well, stay with us. When we come back, we will pick up the conversation and talk about disappearing ag lands, the impact it has on our self-sustainability and on the economy in general, right here on the county seat. We'll be back in a minute.
Industry is the symbol of Utah. Beauty is what makes it unique. Nowhere else are these two qualities exemplified, like in Uinta County. Oil and gas extraction, pioneer history, the spirit of hard work and integrity that feed our state. Built in the middle of the most spectacular backdrop in the West. Isn't it time you found the balance you've been looking for? Uinta County, Utah, where industry meets inspiration.
People come from all over the world to see and enjoy the beauty of our state, and have for years. Today, there are those who would like to close these sites to access for environmental reasons. We believe the proper environmental approach to protecting and enjoying our resources and ensuring their continued beauty is through responsible management and usage, not closure. If you want to ensure your right to access and enjoy the sites, visit www.usaall.org and consider joining the fight today. This message is brought to you by the Utah Shared Access Alliance.
How would you spend an extra day in Utah Valley? Stay one more day. Visit utahvalley.com to make reservations. Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.
In San Rafael country, you'll discover more adventure and excitement than you can imagine. And it's only 2 hours from the Wasatch Front. Find gorges that descend thousands of feet, trails that go on forever, and the solitude of finding a place all your own. Emery County and the San Rafael Swell. We're closer than you think.